And they reached out to us and they told us that there was some unusual action going on with that fight. Do we know anything? You know, we didn't. So what we did was we called the fighter and his lawyer and said, what's going on? There's some weird action going on in your bet. Weird betting action going on in your fight. Are you injured? Do you owe anybody money? Has anybody approached you to, you know, and the kid said, no, absolutely not. I'm going to kill this guy. And, you know, so we said, okay. The fight plays out and first round finish by rear naked choke. Literally the first thing we did was call the FBI.
Once again, the UFC is facing criticism. And this time the charges are so severe that even the FBI has formally become involved. Following the battle between Isaac Dulgarian and Yadier Delva, more accusations of fighting have surfaced, shocking the mixed martial arts community.
My understanding is this is on the FBI's radar. How deep of an investigation is unclear at this time. This is all very new, but yes, it is accurate. I believe there's a gentleman named Harry Mack on social media who is having a nice little victory tour after all of this, and I'm sure he's going to have another one. I'm not familiar with his work, but he did write that yesterday, and so that is my understanding. And my understanding is that this is not an isolated incident. And what I mean by that is I have talked to multiple people who have either experienced or know of others who experience situations where they have been approached about their willingness to do something like this. So I have been told by multiple people that they have been approached, they have been talked to and said, are you interested in this? Are you interested in throwing a fight for X amount of dollars? Believe that's what happened with Darrick Minner. And all signs right now are pointing to something of that sort happening here. This is a massive issue for the UFC. And when you consider, now I haven't been told this part that I'm about to say, when you consider the questionable refereeing as of late, you can't help, I said this last week, you can't help but let your mind go there as well, because there's no other possible explanation for some of the wacky stuff that we have seen as of late. And it's very easy to do. It's extremely easy to do. We've seen it. We've now seen it in broad daylight multiple times. And I think what is happening here, adding 1 + 1 + 1, I believe what is happening here is people are preying on lower level fighters who don't make a lot of money, who are in tough spots, who are fighting in the major leagues, and they're offering them a quick fix. They're not going to like the top dogs, but they're offering a quick fix to the lower level fighters. How prevalent is this? I can't tell you, but I've now heard it multiple occasions in my conversations over the past 24 plus hours saying, are you interested? And that's a huge problem. And so how big of a story this becomes remains to be seen. But this is happening in gyms, in private. This is a big story.
If proven during trial, the UFC would stand to pay up to $1.6 billion in damages to 1,200 fighters who competed for the promotion from 2010 to 2017.
I might get a paycheck.
Holy shit, dude. Do you have an argument?
No, I'm good. I don't understand.
I'm not including that, I don't think.
What they're saying, like they did like some tactics.
Well, they bought out the competition, which is definitely true, right? They bought Affliction, they bought Strikeforce.
Is that illegal?
No, they do it in everything.
Yeah.
But in some businesses, there's they will like break you up if you have a monopoly, and it seems to be at the very least connected politically. That's where it gets weird. It's like, how much money are you donating to the Democratic Party? How much money are you donating to the Republican Party? How much money do you spend on whatever programs they want?
And Joe Rogan, as well as the entire MMA community, are stunned at the depth of this. Betting odds changed significantly in the hours leading up to the fight. After a surge of dubious wagers arrived, Dahlgren, who had been a huge favorite, suddenly became the underdog. Dahlgren was then choked out in the opening round of the fight. Fans didn't like it, and Dana White didn't like it either.
There is a lot of delicate information to discuss in today's video, and you guys know how professional I am, so I thought I would weigh in on this UFC betting scandal from Isaac Dulgarian's fight. This is where it started, and now there's a major investigation. The FBI is involved. A lot of people are saying there's hundreds of fights. A lot of fighters are coming out and saying that there's been a bunch of offers made to them to throw certain fights and to do something in this round and that round and to lose in the second. And even Dana White has given his reaction to this. So I'm glad that I waited to cover this, because Dana White has came out and given his take on the entire situation, because this is serious and I'm playing a character, and this is a satirical take on a clown on YouTube that doesn't really know what he's talking about. I'm a character. Allegedly is what's going on here, guys. This is what I need to mention before we start this video, but we're going to go through it. So this is where it started. Isaac Dulgarian has been released from the UFC. This isn't where it started. This started when Isaac Dulgarian lost his fight to Yadier Delva. Okay? At UFC Vegas 110, Onama versus Garcia. Very important to note, one of the most looked over, irrelevant fight night cards of the entire year. This seems to be when these scandals happen. We had a similar situation for this when it was Darek Minner versus Shayilan Nurdiembeke, and James Krause ended up getting in a ton of trouble for this situation because of some betting scandal that went on there. And was Darek Minner paid to lose the fight, and the odds completely shifted in an exactly identical situation that went down, and that was on a fight night card of something like Marina Rodriguez versus some other women's strawweight fighter. So that was another irrelevant fight card. And I think that's where these guys are going to try and get some stuff done, allegedly, if they did in the first place. But a lot of things seem to suggest that they did. And that's what we're going to go through in today's video.
Shortly on, Dana White acknowledged that he personally contacted the FBI following the altercation, stating that he had a suspicion that something wasn't quite right. He disclosed that before the fight, he had already contacted Dahlgren and his attorney to inquire about the betting activity. They denied everything, but even more suspicions were generated by the subsequent performance.
We called the FBI. I've met with the FBI twice today. So that's the whole thing. Now you see people out there talking, there's hundreds of fights under it. It's total bullshit. Total usual clickbait bullshit. IC360, our company, they monitor all of the betting. Like I said, they're the best in the business. There aren't hundreds of fights being investigated. All clickbait BS. So this company, IC360, which is the best bet monitoring company in the business, we've been with them for years, and we get a report after every single fight that we do. So for anybody out there that's clickbait saying, there's hundreds of fights, it's all bullshit. We've been with these guys for years. We take this very serious, and we're watching every single fight that happens in the UFC, from the first prelim to the main event. So when this did happen, a couple years ago, whenever it was, that investigation is still ongoing, and now will be a part of this investigation too.
There's cheating in this fixed fight. My own reaction to it is when I saw the numbers that the FBI had and the numbers that they saw and the way that the lines moved is very abnormal. In fact, it would be in line with cheating. This gentleman goes out there, he loses the position. All of a sudden, he's on bottom, dude's on top with a rear naked choke, and the most basic defense, which is to fight the hands, is something that he doesn't do. We get the information that the line had moved heavily, and the money that was coming in, it was betting that he would be finished in the specific round where he was finished. It is very odd that they would swing as heavy as they did in this contest, but it's equally as odd that a sports book would take that kind of action. But you come in with a $250,000 bet on a fight that's got a total betting alliance of $11,000. That's a gamble. Before you say that's evidence, I agree with you and I see what you're seeing. But now let me ask you a different question. What is a gamble? What's a bet? And you're going to have to describe the exact same thing before you go and hang somebody. Do you have any proof?
Since then, it has met with federal agents on multiple occasions and stated that the UFC is completely assisting with the inquiry. However, many are still wondering despite this. According to Joe Rogan, if this is accurate, it has the potential to ruin the sport. He cautioned that it is nearly tough to regain trust once one's fight integrity is called into doubt. The controversy has shocked the mixed martial arts community, with many comparing parallels to the notorious Dirk Minor and Coach James Krause affair from 2022.
They chose to continue, and that's from his perspective at the end. So because of the fact that Dulgarian said, I'm not rigging the fight. Dana went, so we kept it going. Even though there was like all of this abnormality and actual agencies calling him saying something's going on with the Dulgarian fight. What? Something going on with the Dulgarian fight? I mean, come on, you guys. I called him and he said no. Come on. Let's let this thing play out. Fucking 2 million on a baccarat table last night? Of course I did. This does not look good for someone who's like hooked on gambling. But I don't know if Dana would I don't think Dana would risk the fucking infinite money glitch of just no effort income from him being the face of the UFC. So I doubt this is going on. And I don't know if the UFC is involved. It just, man, if you're a fighter, and this is what it comes down to, if you're not getting paid much, or if you're like in a title fight, one of the biggest fights of all time, and you're getting $1 million or $500,000, and some entity comes to you, some guy comes up to you and says, 2 million if you get subbed in round 1, 3 million, and they've got 6 million on the fight. That's what I think, if anything, this is. I don't know if the UFC would ever risk this, but you know, people talk. People, I know it's rare, and listen, this is foreign concept to me as well, you guys. But people do communicate in real life, like not with a phone call or by text or by email or anything that can be like checked back and verified and traced. They do just meet up with someone and say, listen, this is off the record, we're doing everything. You know what I'm saying? This is the deal. Okay? James Vick, make it look hilarious.
Due to his involvement in another betting scam, the same coach was banned. This whole matter is made even more complicated by the irony that Dulgarian trained at the same gym earlier in his career. Since then, Dana White has taken the offensive, claiming that there is more than one fighter involved. This has to do with establishing a precedent. He is cautioning all athletes that the UFC will be their worst adversary if they ever try to rig a bout. Fighters from all around the roster are now speaking up. Some people support Dana, arguing that contacting the FBI is the correct thing to do.